Hey folks, welcome back. In this video we're going to go over 6 worked examples to show you how to do problems involving the kinematics of SHM. Now if you haven't already done so, check out my previous theory videos covering the kinematics of SHM and the derivations for both velocity and acceleration in SHM, as that way you'll be able to apply what we learned in those videos to this one. So let's get started. Question 1 says that a loaded spring oscillates 40 centimeters above and below its equilibrium position. It starts at equilibrium, i.e. when y equals 0 centimeters, and one vibration lasts 2 seconds. Part A says to write down a general expression to describe how the displacement y of the object varies with time t. Well, since the spring starts at its equilibrium position when y equals 0, then that means we're going to be using sine in our expression for displacement. So we have y equals a sine omega t. Part B then says to use the data above to determine a specific expression to describe how the displacement y of the object varies with time t. So all that's doing is asking us to put in specific values for the amplitude and the angular frequency omega. So we want to find the amplitude and the angular frequency a and omega. So first of all, the amplitude a is equal to 40 centimeters from the question, which is equal to 0.4 meters. And the angular frequency omega can be found from 2 pi over t, so omega equals 2 pi over t, which is equal to 2 pi over the period t, because we were told that one vibration lasts 2 seconds, and that is the period. So we have 2 pi over 2, which is equal to pi radians. So writing down our specific expression this time, we have y equals 0.4 sine pi t. And lastly, part C says, how would the general expression in part A differ if the motion started at the maximum displacement from the equilibrium? Well, remember, if y equals a, i.e. the amplitude at time t equals 0, then we need to use cosine or cos instead. So we end up with y equals a cos omega t. Question 2 says the displacement y of a particle is given by the expression y equals 0.44 sine 28t, where y is in millimeters and t is in seconds. Part A says to state the amplitude of the particle motion. Well, comparing this to the general expression for the displacement y, which is y equals a sine omega t, then we have a is equal to 0.44 millimeters. And that's because, remember, we were told y is in millimeters in the question here. Part B then says calculate the frequency of the motion. So we want to find the linear frequency f, and then by comparing this expression with the general expression for displacement y equals a sine omega t, we know that omega is equal to 28 radians per second. So to find what f is, we can use our relationship between omega and f, which is omega equals 2 pi f from the relationship sheet. And substituting in our numbers, we have 28 is equal to 2 pi times f. So rearranging for f, we get f equals 4.5 hertz. Part C says to calculate the period of the motion. So we're trying to find the period capital T. We now know the linear frequency f, which is equal to 4.5 hertz. So substituting this into our equation relating period and frequency, we have t equals 1 over f, and substituting in the numbers gives 1 divided by 4.5, which if you put into your calculator should give you an answer of 0.22 seconds. Part D then says to find the time taken for the particle to move a distance of 0.2 millimeters from the equilibrium position. So we want to find the time t. We know that the displacement y this time is 0.2 millimeters, and the amplitude is still 0.44 millimeters from the question, and we saw earlier that the angular frequency omega is equal to 28 radians per second. So writing down our general expression for displacement y equals a sine omega t, we can substitute in our numbers to get what t is. So we have 0.2 is equal to 0.44 times sine of 28t. And then we can rearrange for sine of 28t by dividing both sides by 0.44, so that gives us sine of 28t equals 0.45, and then to get what 28t is on its own, we need to take the inverse sine of both sides, but remember we need to make sure that our calculator is in radians for this step, so we set the calculator to radians, and we have 28t is equal to the inverse sine of 0.45, which is equal to 0.47, and then to get t on its own, we just need to divide both sides by 28, so we end up with t equals 1.7 times 10 to the minus 2 seconds. Question 3 says a particle moves with simple harmonic motion. The displacement of the particle is given by the expression y equals 40 cos 4 pi t, where y is in millimeters and t is in seconds. Part A says to state the amplitude of the motion. Well, remember, comparing this expression with the general expression for displacement when y equals a at time t equals 0, we have y equals a cos omega t, so that means that the amplitude a is simply 40 millimeters. B part 1 then says to calculate the frequency of the motion. So we want to find the linear frequency f. We know that the angular frequency omega is equal to 4 pi radians per second, because we can see there that that's cos omega t, so that 4 pi there must be omega. And then we can use our relationship between angular frequency and linear frequency, omega equals 2 pi f. Substituting in the numbers gives us 4 pi equals 2 pi times f, so that means f is simply 2 hertz. And then B part 2 says to calculate the period of the motion. So we want to find capital T, the period, and then we now know that linear frequency f is 2 Hz. So we can use our relationship between linear frequency and period, which is T equals 1 over f. Substituting in the numbers gives us 1 over 2, which equals 0.5 seconds. C part 1 then says to calculate the displacement of the particle when t equals 0. Well, using our specific expression we were given in the question, we have y equals 40 cos of 4 pi times 0 if t equals 0. And simplifying this gives us 40 cos of 0, but remember cosine of 0 is 1, so this simply gives us 40 times 1, which equals 40 millimeters. And then C part 2, calculate the displacement of the particle when t equals 1.5 seconds. Well, this time we have y equals 40 cos 4 pi times 1.5, and simplifying this gives us 40 cos 6 pi, and then because we've got cosine of 6 pi, remember we need to make sure our calculator is in radians mode, so if we put that into our calculator in radians mode, we should get an answer of 40 millimeters. So what we're saying is that after 1.5 seconds, the displacement of the particle will be the same as it was to begin with at time t equals 0. And that's because 2 pi radians is one full cycle of motion. So if we go through 6 pi, then that's just 3 full cycles of motion, so we should end up back at the place we started. Question 4 then says an object is vibrating with simple harmonic motion of amplitude 0.02 meters and frequency 5.0 Hz. Assume that the displacement of the object y equals 0 at time t equals 0 and that it starts moving in the positive y direction. Part A says to calculate the velocity and acceleration of the object when the displacement is 0.008 meters. Well, first of all, looking at the initial conditions, since the displacement y equals 0 at time t equals 0, then we're going to think about the general expression of y equals a sine omega t rather than y equals a cos omega t. And we want to find velocity and acceleration, so let's just write down what we know from the question. So we want to find velocity v and also acceleration a, and the amplitude a is given as 0.02 meters. The displacement y is given as 0.008 meters, the frequency f equals 5.0 Hz, and the angular frequency omega can be found from this linear frequency f by using omega equals 2 pi f, which is equal to 2 pi times 5.0, which equals 10 pi radians per second. So let's firstly write down our expression for the velocity of an object undergoing SHM, which is v equals plus or minus omega times the square root of a squared minus y squared. So substituting in the numbers, we get plus or minus 10 pi times the square root of 0.02 squared minus 0.008 squared. And putting that into your calculator, remembering to take the square root, gives us plus or minus 0.58 meters per second. Then to find the acceleration, we can use our general expression for acceleration in SHM, which is a equals minus omega squared y. So substituting in the numbers this time gives us minus 10 pi squared times 0.008, and putting that into your calculator should give you an answer of minus 7.9 ms to the minus 2. Part B then says to calculate the maximum values of velocity and acceleration of the object. Well, writing down what we know from the question, we're trying to find the maximum velocity and also the maximum acceleration. We know that amplitude A is equal to 0.02 meters and the angular frequency omega is equal to 10 pi radians per second. So writing down our equation for the maximum velocity of an object undergoing SHM, first of all, we have V max equals A omega. Then substituting in our numbers, we have 0.02 times 10 pi, and putting that into your calculator should give you an answer of 0.63 meters per second. Then to find the maximum acceleration, we have that A max is equal to omega squared A, which if we put in the numbers, we get 10 pi squared times 0.02, and put that into your calculator should give you an answer of 19.7 meters per second squared. Part C then says find the time taken for the object to move from the equilibrium position to a displacement of 0.012 meters. Well, writing down what we know from the question, we're trying to find time t. We know the displacement y equals 0.012 meters in this case, and the amplitude A is 0.02 meters, and the angular frequency omega was 10 pi radians per second. So writing down our general expression for displacement y, we have y equals a sine omega t. Substituting in the numbers gives 0.012 equals 0.02 times sine of 10 pi t, and then dividing both sides by 0.02, we get sine of 10 pi t equals 0.6, and to get t on its own we need to take the inverse sine of both sides, but remember we need to make sure our calculator is in radians mode to do this. So we make sure the calculator is in radians mode, and then we can take inverse sine of both sides to get 10 pi t equals sine to the minus 1 of 0.6, which is equal to 0.64. And then dividing both sides by 10 pi, we get t equals 0.02 seconds. Question 5 says a tuning fork vibrates at 256 Hz. the tuning fork tip travels a distance of 2.6 millimeters as shown below. So you can see the tuning fork tip in its rest position here, but it can move to the left and to the right as it vibrates, and that covers a total distance of 2.6 millimeters. Part A then says to show that the displacement of the tuning fork is given by the expression y equals 1.3 times 10 to the minus 3 cos 1608t. Well, first we need to realise that since cosine or cos is given in the question here, we need to use y equals a cos omega t as our expression for displacement. Firstly, to show that the amplitude is given by this value here, we can see that the tuning fork tip will go from its rest position to a maximum amplitude at this side and a maximum amplitude at this side. So that is going to be half of this distance, 1.3 millimeters. So if I take my 2.6 millimeters, I have a equals 2.6 times 10 to the minus 3 meters divided by 2, which equals 1.3 times 10 to the minus 3 meters. And that's where I get this value from. And then to show that omega is equal to 1608 radians per second, we can use our relationship between omega and linear frequency f because we're told the frequency f is 256 Hz. So we have omega equals 2 pi f equals 2 pi times 256, which equals 1608 radians per second. So if we put all that together, we end up with y equals 1.3 times 10 to the minus 3 cos of 1608t. B part 1 then says to calculate the maximum velocity of the end of the tuning fork. Well, remember our expression for maximum velocity is given by Vmax equals a omega, so we can substitute in the numbers that we've already found from part A, which is the amplitude of 1.3 times 10 to the minus 3 times 1608 for omega, and put that into your calculator should give you an answer of 2.1 meters per second. Part 2 then says to calculate the maximum acceleration of the end of the tuning fork. So this time the expression for maximum acceleration, remember, is a max equals omega squared a. So substituting in the same numbers as up here, but remembering to square omega, we have 1608 squared times 1.3 times 10 to the minus 3, and putting that into a calculator should give you an answer of 3.4 times 10 to the 3 meters per second squared. Lastly, question 6 says to show that the motion of a simple pendulum approximates to SHM, and therefore that the period of the pendulum can be expressed as t equals 2 pi times the square root of L over g. And there's a hint here, which is that you will need to use something called the small angle approximation. So first of all, we're going to consider a simple pendulum involving a point mass m at the end of a string of length L, and we're going to assume the string has negligible mass. So let's start by sketching the situation with a ball on the end of a string, and we can say that it forms a right angled triangle when the ball has been displaced by some distance y away from the equilibrium position. And we can say the rest length of the string is L over this side, and we've got the displacement y that the ball has moved through from its equilibrium position. And we can say that this forms an angle theta of the ball away from its rest position. So we've got this right angled triangle here, but we can label some forces acting on the ball as well. So the ball is going to have weight acting downwards, which is mg, and we could also say there's a component of the ball's weight acting inwards here, which is mg sine theta, and that gives rise to the restoring force or centripetal force acting on the ball. So first of all, we can get an expression for tan theta by doing opposite over adjacent. So if we take opposite the angle, that is y, and adjacent to the angle is L, so we end up with tan theta equals y over L. And remember we said this component of the force gives rise to the restoring force, so we have that the restoring force on the mass is given by F equals minus mg sine theta, where the minus sign is there to tell us that the restoring force acts in the opposite direction to the displacement y. Now we can use a small angle approximation, which says that for small angles theta, sine theta is approximately equal to tan theta, which in this case is approximately equal to y over L. So that means we have that sine theta is equal to y over L, which we can replace in this expression for the restoring force. So therefore, we have that F equals minus mg times y over L, where we're just replacing the sine theta here with y over L. So rewriting that slightly differently, we have F equals minus mg over Ly. Just to get this in the form of force is equal to minus something times y, just like in Hooke's law where we have F equals minus ky. But remember, Newton's second law says that F equals ma, so we can rewrite F here as ma equals minus mg over Ly, and you'll see we now have m's on both sides, so we can cancel the m's on both sides to get a equals minus g over Ly. And hopefully you can see that this satisfies the equation for SHM, a equals minus omega squared y, as long as omega squared is equal to g over L. And that's just found by comparing this part omega squared with the g over L here. But remember, we want to show an expression for the period t, so we need to somehow get period t into our equation here. Well, remember that omega is equal to 2 pi over t, so that means we can write 2 pi over t squared is equal to g over L. And now we've got capital T in our expression, which is what we want. So we now just need to do a bit of manipulation to get the period t on its own. So let's square the terms on the left hand side first, so we get 4 pi squared over t squared is equal to g over L, and now let's rearrange it for t squared. So if we do a bit of cross multiplying, we end up with t squared equals 4 pi squared L over g, and if we now take the square root of both sides, we end up with t equals 2 pi times the square root of L over g, which is what we wanted to show. That's all for this video, folks. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, I really appreciate it. Make sure to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.